Welcome to the Unapologetic with Janine McKinnon podcast, helping you step more fully into your feminine, unapologetic authenticity. I'm your host, Janine McKinnon, confidence and sexual empowerment coach, who went from the trenches of 2 kids under 2 years old, feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, disconnected, and resentful, to creating a life I'm obsessed with, full of passion, presence, pleasure, and playfulness. I love myself, I love my marriage, I love my kids, and I love my life. And I want to help you feel the same level of love and fulfillment in your life. Here you can find inspiration and tools taken from my one-on-one coaching sessions and group experiences to support you in your journey. We'll cover things like societal conditioning, inner child healing, women's empowerment, and tantric and Taoist principles to inspire you to live a life you love while embodying your feminine, unapologetic authenticity. And in doing so, creating a ripple effect throughout your life, your family, and everyone you interact with. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful we're able to connect in this way, and I can't wait to dig into the contents of this episode with you. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to another Tuesday transmission episode inside the Unapologetic with Janine McKinnon podcast. Today we're talking all about our feminine power. What exactly is our feminine power and how it's all connected with our sacral chakra? This is the energy center that resides within our womb space, and that's why it's tied in with our feminine powers. This is the energy center for creation. It is how we literally create life, and that translates into all different things that we create. Our sexuality and our creativity are very closely tied together. This is also the energy center and the space for deep, deep connection, for emotional flow, connection with our emotions, really understanding them, using them to guide us by being able to learn from them and listen to our emotions and take that aligned action that really helps us stay in alignment. And that really ties into our intuition and our intuitive knowing. Our womb space is a portal between realms. Again, it's how we bring life in from one realm to the other. And so it's this sacred space that is our feminine powers, and our oracle, our intuitive knowing really comes from this space. We all understand what it's like to listen to our heads in a situation, listen to our hearts. Oh, what is our gut instinct for something, right? So we all understand how these different parts of our body have this knowing that we can look to for different situations that we might be in or different opportunities that might be in front of us. And a part of our feminine power is being able to check in with our womb space or sacral chakra for this intuitive knowing. That is our feminine guidance. And so using that as this guiding light in your life is so helpful for making decisions and really living your life unapologetically, understanding and I would say even listening and hearing these different signals that our body is telling us, and then being able to take that action. So that's all a part of our feminine power, and then our sensuality as well, of course, right? We create life through our sexual energy and through sensuality and sexuality that requires, again, that deep, deep presence, that deep connection with ourselves and with our partner. So all of this is really tied in together in this place in our body. And unfortunately, many women have huge blocks with their sacral chakras. And these different blocks can come from, one, just living in a world that is designed for men. Our 9-to-5 work life, same thing every day, same thing every week, is tied to a man's 24-hour hormonal cycle. That is completely out of alignment for our feminine 25 to 34-ish day cycle. We can kind of meet in the middle with 28 days. but we go through our peaks and dips over a much longer period of time. And so it's really hard for us as feminine beings to just fit into this more masculine way of living the same way each day, each week. So that in itself creates some disconnect with the wisdom of our bodies. And that ties into so much hate or disdain or just all of this negativity and trouble around our periods. So many women hate their periods. They hate getting them. They wish they were over. The only thing it's really good for is seeing that we're not pregnant or we are pregnant, depending on the situation. And besides that, they want to be able to ignore them. But there is a lot of power in having full understanding for our feminine cycles and living in alignment with that. And I feel like that's a whole other podcast episode topic I won't get too into, but I will say if you are someone who experiences really bad PMS, really bad periods, I would say it's an opportunity to look at how out of alignment you are living in relation to your cycle. So much modern medicine is geared towards making it so you can live in modern society and cover up this symptom so you can behave and live in a certain way that aligns with the system. But what I really encourage people to do is to look at it from our natural state of being and what that is for our feminine hormonal cycles and how we can make those adjustments from our life for that. It really is our, I want to say, fifth vital sign, which is a book in itself, super informative. But again, we're not going to dig full blown into that. That is a whole other episode that I can get to. But weaving it back into how so many women have these blocks, hating their periods, hating their bodies, hating being a woman, being seen as women are weak, hearing all of these different narratives from society, shaming and negativity around sexuality, around being a woman, throw like a girl, run like a girl. It's this negative thing. We are also told that we shouldn't be sluts, but we shouldn't be prudes. And so there's just a lot of this heaviness around femininity. And there's also a lot of pressure to do everything a man can do. And again, that's shifting us in to our masculine energies and creating this disconnect within our feminine powers when so much of our focus is doing what man can do, living our life in that way, keeping control of everything, being caught up in the busyness and the go, and doing things without really listening to and acting on our intuitive knowing is creating this big disconnect within ourselves. There's all these different layers to this as well, depending on how we are taking this information in. Is this coming in from someone in our direct household or through the media or through someone in our community or through our religion? And all of these different things are going to affect how much this really impacts us. And trauma is a whole other thing that gets tossed into the mix and creating those layers. And there's that little t trauma through just living through something day in and day out. And then there's the bigger trauma that is often tied into this conversation around sexual trauma and birth trauma. And all of these things, the traumas we face, the different experiences we've had, the different stories we've been told, and the beliefs we've taken on as our own, they're blocking our connection with our feminine power. And I've seen it time and time again in different ways with clients. I've had one particular client that I've spoken about on this podcast, and I've seen it pop up a few more times since, and how there's just this line, this wall straight across her C-section scar, and there's no connection to sensations below that. And I've also seen it with some clients that have experienced sexual trauma, that there is such distrust in their body, such numbing and disconnection and really aversion to feeling things, because feeling things is scary, that it blocks their full body, not even just their feminine power and their sacral chakra, but their body in general. It can be very hard to get into that. And when you're stuck in these ways of being, you generally tend to be someone who is very much in your head and wanting to control everything, and that everything is done the right way, and caught up in the to-do list, caught up in this, that, and the other thing. And because of that, you're so disconnected from being able to be fully present in the present moment, noticing what it feels like in your body to be there filled with joy because of all of the beautiful everyday moments that are all around you. I also see these women just stuffing down their emotions because, again, they don't trust themselves to feel them. Feeling them feels too scary, and therefore they're unable to pass through. They're quite stuck, and you miss out on the opportunity to, one, be able to learn from these emotions and being able to, again, take that aligned action that really brings your life into alignment from your feminine powers of relating to your emotions. And also, this stuffing down of the emotions, they're not going away. So they're either going to end up blowing up, or they're going to end up coming out in some way through the body, through different illnesses and ailments and things like that. And again, that can be very relatable because these emotions are here to be heard. So if we're not hearing them in one way, they're going to come out in other ways. And we'll go from kind of whispering and nudging to screaming until you're forced in one way or another, whether it's a complete blow up or something really bad physically, until you're forced to stop and take a look around and make whatever adjustments are necessary. So when we can tap into our feminine powers, know we have the capacity to hold these emotions and learn from them. That's where we get our power, and we're able to make choices based on what's coming up for us and live more and more in alignment and be able to thrive more and more. Because these, if they're more low vibrational emotions, they're showing us what's not working. What do we need to change or adjust? And if they're more high vibrational emotions, we're able to see what's working, what's great, be able to be energized and nourished from them and make more space for all of these different things that are working for us. So these are the different ways that our feminine power can really flourish with that connection with our emotional flow. The other thing that I see from women that are so caught up in their heads and the go, go, go and completely disconnected from their feminine powers is they're often no longer creative. They used to be creative as a child, but it's just not really there now. It might come out in these small different ways around the home, but that's about it. And they might be struggling to feel passionate in their business or really getting those creative ideas flowing because there's just that disconnect there. And that sacral chakra, that sexual energy, is our creative energy that we're able to pour into all of our different creations. And so when it's blocked, that creativity tends to be blocked as well. And I find that is one of my favorite surprising side effects of both myself and many of the clients that I work with, is that once they get to a certain point in their journey, they've really connected with their body, they have been able to heal some inner child wounds, be able to bring in this sense of empowerment, tap into their sexual energy from that empowering, pleasurable presence frame of mind, all of a sudden their creativity unlocks. And these different ideas just start pouring out of nowhere, and it really helps bring this beauty back into their lives and the sense of fulfillment from being able to create in all of these different ways. Because when it really comes down to it, creation is our life's purpose in one way or another. That is literally what we as women are built to do and why we are so creative in so many different ways. And so when it's blocked, there's this sense of unfulfillment and kind of stuckness that comes along with it. And so it's so beautiful when that just unleashes and this creativity just flows and so much beauty comes back into the home, and the sense of fulfillment from being able to pursue all of these different hobbies and bring all these different creations to life. It's really beautiful to be able to watch. And so what are some of these different ways that we can connect with our sacral chakra and our feminine powers? The number one thing is we need to stop the busy go, go, go lifestyle. How can we make adjustments within our day-to-day that are more aligned with our feminine cycles, which generally means how can we take things off of our plate? How can we get more support? How can we weave in more time for rest? What are the different things we can say no to? Because when we honestly take a good hard look at them, it's more out of obligation and shoulds and expectations. And it really isn't in alignment with what's right for us. So it's making more time for these pauses. One of the big things for me personally when it came to aligning things within my feminine cycle is the weekend before my bleed. That's a resting weekend. And that can be very hard for women to be okay with just resting, with not needing to earn the rest, but to just sit there and read your book for a couple of hours. Even if your husband is folding laundry beside you, even if your kids are wanting to do this or that, and being okay with just resting, because it is what you would like to do and it is what you need to do to truly thrive. And with this connection with our sacral chakra, dancing is also an incredible way of really being able to release these blockages, any stuck energy or different things that are being stored within the body. Because when we shake those hips, we're shaking our sacral chakra as well. And so it's just really great for getting things moving and for helping us connect with our body. It's very hard to be able to dance and feel the music if you're stuck in your head. And so it can be this great way, it can be this great pathway for really bringing in this presence, connecting with our body, feeling that flow to the music, allowing the music to bring forward different emotions and states of being, perhaps tapping into that sensuality, that sexuality. It's all really tied together. And so dance is just this beautiful way of playing around within all of that. And of course, me being me, I strongly believe that embodiment practices, including meditation, breath work, and pleasure practices, are the best way we can really build that connection with our feminine powers, be able to build connection with our body, build safety, and being able to feel and alchemize our emotions, and being able to use breath work to shift those blockages within our body, to be able to expand our sensations, and using pleasure practices to really enjoy the pleasure that life has to offer us, as well as bringing our body fully online and being able to program ourselves with those beliefs that we want to have that are ours, not just inherited, but what we truly choose to believe and to take on as our own beliefs. And so there's a bunch of them that are great within the Unapologetic Practices collection. And I have actually just created a coupon code exclusively for podcast listeners. This discount will not be offered anywhere else. And so it is 15% off using code podcast. There's also a 14-day free trial if you're interested in checking it out. But in there we have things like yoni breathwork, which is a favorite of so many clients I work with being able to build that connection with your femininity, with your sacral chakra, with your whole yoni. And there can be some blockages and disconnection, and it might be tricky and clunky to begin with. But when you finally feel her light up, feel those sensations come online, you feel alive again, and you feel that vitality that comes through this connection with your body, through your feminine power. There is also the honeypot meditation, which I offer for free for everyone. So I will also leave that linked in the show notes. And that's a way of connecting with your sexual organs, which are all within that sacral chakra center, and being able to infuse your body with these different qualities you want to take on, that confidence, that sensuality, that radiance, whatever speaks true to you, you are able to infuse yourself with. And then different breathwork practices, like the self-love embodiment breathwork practice, you're able to activate your body and create that sense of love, safety, and belonging, because that is the foundation for ourselves to really be able to surrender into our feminine flow. We need to feel safe to do so. So these are just a few tastes of those embodiment practices that really support you in connecting with your feminine power. And when we're able to connect with our feminine power, this is how I think we change the world. We are able to, one, create a life we're obsessed with, one we truly thrive in, because we feel what our body, our intuition is telling us. We're able to make those choices, learn from our emotions, and jump on opportunities that feel right for us, close doors to things that are not working, and really bring ourselves more and more into alignment. We're able to have that deep presence and connection with ourselves, with Mother Earth, with our family, with everyone around us. And when we come from this place of connection and confidence and flow and love, and have that intuition really fueling us, and our sexual life force energy, that radiance that comes from that, it's contagious. We're operating from that state of overflow because we're saying no to what doesn't work, bringing in more of what really does. We're overflowing this to everyone around us, and we're really giving them the opportunity to rise up with us. We are leading example for our kids, both for our girls and our boys. We are having our partners really rise up to the table as we hold ourselves to these new standards, as we really hold ourselves within our feminine power. That's what we are, is those emotional and spiritual leaders when we are in that feminine power. And so it creates this beautiful ripple effect that I talk about all the time, because we really are able to change the world, to raise the vibration of the collective, one yoni breath work at a time, because it makes that big of an impact on ourselves and to those around us, and then in turn to everyone they relate with, to the different conversations we have. So not only do I feel like this is a duty we have for ourselves, it's the duty we carry for our families and for changing the world. And so I really invite you, if you are feeling that disconnection, to look at ways you can connect with yourself and to be able to live more in alignment with your feminine cycles as you begin to connect with and embrace your feminine powers. And I will also add, this is available to each and every one of you. There are some who are like, oh, intuition's just something I don't have. Oh, I'm just someone who is caught up in my head. I overthink everything. That might be your story right now. That might be the version of life you are living right now. That doesn't mean that needs to be your story for the rest of your life. You were born with the same feminine powers as all of us. There's just a block. There's just a disconnection for whatever reason. And you are able to work through it. You are able to tap into that power that already lies within you. And through being able to tap into it, through different practices, through dancing, it's a flame that's just going to slowly start and build and build and build and spread around to everyone around you. So it is available. I'm here if you want to chat. Again, you have that free honeypot meditation that's available for everyone that I will link. And there is the Unapologetic Practices Collection, which is your go-to for meditations, breathwork, and pleasure practices to help you tap into your feminine power. Use code podcast for 15% off. And stay tuned for our Unapologetic Stories episode coming out on Thursday. This is a beautiful episode with Nada Lyon, and it is all about unleashing your divinity. We go into so much more with really being able to restore your nervous system, manage your nervous system, and connect with the divine and everything that has to offer you. So stay on the lookout for that, and I will chat with you again next week. Thank you for joining us inside the Unapologetic with Janine McKinnon podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you feel called, I would so appreciate it if you shared about this episode in your stories or left us a review to help us reach more women in their unapologetic authenticity journey. Until next time, trust your inner wisdom and make some magic.